Hey guys, and welcome to another boxing prediction video. So this is the Tyson Fury versus Anthony Joshua fight prediction. So obviously Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury are scheduled to fight at some point this year, but obviously a lot of things have to happen first of all for this fight to happen. There's a few sort of stumbling blocks in the way at the moment. I think this sort of started last year when they both sort of like signed to fight each other. It was on Sky Sports and various news outlets online and stuff, talking about the fights being like mutually agreed and signed. But of course, you have to obviously find like the right venue, and the networks have got to agree, because obviously Anthony Joshua was on Sky Sports, Tyson Fury was on BT Sport and Showtime ESPN as well. Obviously, Anthony Joshua also fights on DAZN as well. So you have to obviously get them to agree as well, purses, all that sort of stuff. So the fight, obviously, like, yeah, it might be getting closer as we speak, but at the moment there's no official date or anything like that. Of course, everyone wants this to be for the undisputed heavyweight title, because at the moment both fighters hold enough titles for it to be undisputed. They both hold a major world title. Tyson Fury, WBC and Ring Magazine title holder, and Anthony Joshua is the WBA, IBF, WBO and IBO heavyweight title holder. The IBO is a minor title, so it would be online, but that doesn't really count as the undisputed. For obviously this fight, if it does take place this year, I personally think Tyson Fury will win, simply because he's the better natural overall fighter and he's just got better technical ability. Anthony Joshua, I think personally, is a great fighter, but when you look at his overall himself as a boxer, I just think that he does a lot of things well, but not anything in particular like amazing. Yeah, he's got good speed. He's always in good shape, got good power as well, and he can throw a lot of combinations. But they're all good. I don't see him doing anything amazing to suggest he would beat Tyson Fury. Fury, on the other hand, yeah, of course, his shape or size might not be everyone's cup of tea, but his movement, his footwork, his punching output is brilliant. Of course, yeah, his power might not be the same as Anthony Joshua's, but I think, like I said earlier, Tyson Fury is the better, natural and talented, technically better fighter. I mean, if it does happen, I could see Fury probably getting like a decision victory. I don't think he's got enough power to beat Joshua by knockout. Of course, in his last fight, he beat Deontay Wilder by knockout in a great performance. But I just think on the night, his tactics were brilliant, and something was up about Wilder. That remains to be seen what was wrong with him. Many different things have come out since Wilder, dishing out a lot of, I guess, things about the fight, saying that Fury's gloves were tampered with. He had damaged part of his head. His ears were bleeding. So like, I don't know if that's because Fury was just punching so hard for once and he just physically destroyed Wilder. I don't know, but of course in that fight he looked amazing. If you could transfer that to the next fight, you never know what happened. He could knock out Anthony Joshua, because he's been down multiple times in his career. Obviously, most recently against Andrew Reid in the first fight last year. Back in 2019 now, where he got knocked down multiple times on the way to losing that fight by knockout. Got dropped by Klitschko as well, so he can be hurt. But then again, Fury has been knocked down as well, a couple of times by Wilder in the first fight, also by, what was the other guy's name? Cruiserweight fight back in 2013. Oh man, I forgot his name. So yeah, he's been down a few times in his career as well, so they're both vulnerable. Steve Cunningham, that was his name, the Cruiserweight back in, when I was a heavyweight in 2013, and won by knockout, I think in the 7th round. Tyson Fury did. So yeah, they've both been knocked down in various parts of their career, so they're both vulnerable in that aspect. So it's a good classic matchup of who's got the most, who's got the best game plan, who's in the best shape, who's right mentally, because this fight is massive. Just because COVID is still a thing, this fight is still going to be huge. The press conference is going to be good, the marketing, the promos, even the fight's going to be humongous. So going into this, whoever's got the better mentality, I do think that's a key to this fight, because if one of them's got a wrong mentality or a wrong attitude, then I don't think it'll work in their favour. They have to be 110% for this fight. No looking past it. I don't think there's any point looking past it. What are you going to achieve after this? Undisputed world heavyweight title. That's the be or end all of becoming a heavyweight boxer, isn't it? But of course there's other fights on the horizon for both, but this is the main fight for them both at their point of their career. Like I said, I think Tyson Fury would win just because of his technical ability. Andy Joshua will have good moments in this fight. I could possibly see him getting a knockdown because, again, Fury is vulnerable, but so is Joshua. Even if Joshua does lose, he's still going to get fights out there. His name isn't going to drastically fall off the face of the earth, and he's going to get no fights. Like, he'll still get big fights like Dillian Whyte, Deontay Wilder. You never know. Alexander Usyk, Chisora. There's other fights out there for him. Same with Fury. If he does lose for the first time in his career, then it's not like, oh, that's the end for Fury. There's loads of fights out there for him as well. He could fight Wilder for the third time. That means they're both lost at that point. Good third fight in the making. Dillian Whyte, among others as well. So there are fights out there for both if they do lose. So it's not the end of the world. There could be a rematch clause as well. So that could be a factor in it as well. Like I said, if Fury does win this fight, I personally would see him as probably the best heavyweight in the last probably 5 years. There's not really much competition, to be honest. It's not the best era. I can't say the last 10 years because obviously Klitschko's was still around at that point as well, and you can't really say that Fury derails what they achieved in their career just because he's beaten a few big names in his career at this current point. When he retires, then you can obviously compare resumes and what he went on to achieve. I mean, if he does win this, Fury, he would be the first undisputed heavyweight champion since Lennox Lewis back in 1999. Same with Joshua as well, and it's good they're both obviously British fighters, which is a great for obviously the British fight fans as well. I do think a lot of people take interest in this fight as well, because when you see two great heavyweights come together for world titles on the line as well, it adds that appeal to it as well. Even if the fight wasn't for any world titles, I do think that this fight would still be big. It wouldn't be as big, I don't think, because having that undisputed tag on them as well makes so much of a difference. But like I said, I just think Tyson Fury's punch output, his footwork, just his technical ability would cause too much problems with Joshua. Like I said, Joshua would have moments, couldn't get a knockdown. I just don't think he has the stamina as well as important. I don't think the stamina would be or is good enough to withhold 12 rounds against Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury to switch here as well, change stances, styles, he can fight inside and outside as well. If he uses the same sort of tactics against Wilder for Joshua, I could see it working. Of course you've got to adapt to every single fighter I should say, but time will tell. Also as well, just to mention, obviously Alexander Usyk is currently the WBO #1 ranked challenger. I've heard that Joe Joyce and Usyk could fight potentially for the WBO interim title, which means that they would obviously fight for like a minor world title, and then let's just say like that becomes vacant, then they could obviously fight for that would get upgraded to the world champion if that's a possibility. If Joshua even vacates the belt, then MC would fight for the vacant title. So yeah, that would be a really good fight in itself, but I'll do that's another video for a different time. So let me know what you think about the Andy Joshua Tyson Fury fight down below in the comments. Hopefully I can get the comments taken off because they're currently off for some reason. I'm not sure why, to be honest, but yeah. Anyway, this has been my Tyson Fury vs Andy Joshua fight prediction video, and I'll speak to you soon.